All right, welcome to The Explainer. We're going to tackle a question today that really impacts every single one of us in our financial future. So, what do you think? A $10,000 mistake at 25 versus the same one at 55? The answer, well, it's not nearly as simple as it seems. Research actually points to a few different financial danger zones. Okay, let's dive right in. So, first up, let's explore this idea of timing. There's this first major danger zone that experts have a name for. They call it the compound effect window. Okay, so what is that? Well, it's this period, think roughly from your late 20s to your mid 40s, where your financial decisions have just maximum leverage. We're talking about a ripple effect over your entire life's wealth. So, what in the world is the compound effect window? You've probably heard of compounding, right? The easiest way to think about it is like a snowball rolling down a really big hill. It's your money making money, and then that money starts making its own money. This window we're talking about, that's when your financial snowball has the longest, steepest hill to roll down. And a mistake here, like putting off investing, it doesn't just cost you the money you lost. It costs you decades of potential growth. It creates a gap that's almost impossible to close later. And this is where it gets really crazy. This slide quantifies the cost of just waiting. That giant 3x you see, that's the brutal, unforgiving math of lost time. The Center for Retirement Research found that if you wait just 1 decade to start saving for retirement, you might have to save 3 times as much every single month just to end up in the same place. I mean, that's not a small difference, right? That is the financial equivalent of trying to win a marathon after giving everybody else a 10-mile head start. Good luck with that. Okay, so if the math is so clear, why do so many of us delay? Well, a major reason is something called lifestyle creep. It is so subtle. You get a raise, and what happens? Instead of banking the extra cash, you get a nicer apartment, maybe a new car. You start going on fancier vacations. And this isn't just a feeling. The Bureau of Labor Statistics has data on this. Discretionary spending can jump by a staggering 78% between your mid-20s and your 40s. And that just eats away at the very money that should be out there compounding for your future. Okay, so that's the argument for why your 20s and 30s are so critical. But let's move on to our next case, because this is where things get even more complicated. We're talking about your 40s. This is a decade of, peak earnings, but also peak pressure. It can create what a lot of people call a perfect storm for a major financial misstep. Yeah, in your 40s, it feels like all of your financial responsibilities just crash together at the same time. You're often supporting your kids, but you might also be helping out your aging parents. That's that classic sandwich generation squeeze. And at the exact same time, you're probably juggling a mortgage on a bigger family home, trying to save for college, all while your own lifestyle costs have hit their absolute peak. The pressure is just immense. And this just perfectly illustrates the stakes. $78,000. That's the average debt burden for someone in this age group, according to Federal Reserve data. It is the highest of any age group. So your income is probably higher than it's ever been, but guess what? So is your debt. And that leaves a dangerously thin margin for any kind of error. Okay, but what if the biggest danger isn't about lost opportunity or high pressure? What if it's about finality? This brings us to our third and maybe most sobering case, the point of no return. This is the argument for why mistakes made after you turn 50 can be the most painful of all. See, this is the really crucial point. The whole nature of financial risk, it just completely changes as you get older. When you're younger, sure, you might make a bunch of mistakes, right? Overdraft your account, get a terrible car loan, we've all been there. But the dollar amounts are usually smaller, and you literally have decades to recover. But as an older adult, whoa, the stakes are so much higher. A mistake isn't just a few $1,000s anymore. It could be a bad investment with your entire retirement nest egg. So you make fewer mistakes for sure, but the ones you do make can be absolutely catastrophic because you just don't have the time to bounce back. And you know what's fascinating? Research actually shows that our financial decision-making ability follows this really interesting U-shaped curve. So let's walk through it. When we're in our teens and 20s, we make a ton of mistakes. We just lack the experience. Then, as we move through our 30s and 40s, our skills get better and better. And then we hit this sweet spot, right around age 53. Some researchers actually call this the age of reason. It's where our life experience and our brain power are in perfect balance. We're at our financial wisest. But, and this is a big but, after that peak, as we get into our 70s and beyond, the data shows that financial mistakes can start to creep back up again, which makes that period really vulnerable. All right, so we've looked at 3 really compelling arguments, haven't we? The lost potential of your 20s, the high-pressure squeeze of your 40s, and the sheer finality of a mistake in your 50s and beyond. So, what's the verdict? When do mistakes really hurt the most? Well, it turns out the answer depends entirely on how you measure the harm. Are we talking about lost opportunity, or are we talking about the lack of time to recover? This table, really, it pulls it all together. Look at the teens and 20s. Mistake frequency is high, but the impact is pretty low. You've got time. Then in your 30s and 40s, things are kind of in the middle. You're making those big moves like buying a house. But then look at that last row, your 50s and beyond. The frequency of mistakes, it drops way down. But the impact, if one does happen, it skyrockets to very high. And why? Precisely because there is so little runway left to rebuild. And this quote, man, this really just hits the nail on the head. While those early mistakes cost your potential growth, what your money could have become, mistakes later in life can cost you your actual security. We're talking about the wealth you've already worked so hard to build, the money you are counting on. It's a huge difference. So, okay, after hearing all that, what's the takeaway here? We can't turn back the clock, obviously, but we can absolutely protect our future. So let's talk about the universal rules for minimizing financial harm, no matter how old you are. Okay, here it is. This is your 5-step playbook. Number 1, start as early as you possibly can. And this is key. Automate your savings. Make it consistent and effortless. Number 2, avoid high-interest debt like the plague. Seriously, it's just reverse compounding working against you. 3, build that emergency fund. It's your cushion against all of life's unexpected shocks. 4, proactively plan for the big milestones. A house, family, retirement. Don't let them sneak up on you. And finally, number 5, seek out trusted advice. Get a crucial second opinion on your big decisions.
Because when you really get down to it, the most dangerous age for a financial mistake is whatever age you are right now. But here's the good news. The best time to take action, to protect yourself, to build your future, is also today.